All right, let's get started. All right, so share. Let me. Hi, Tabby. How you doing? We are. I'm just making sure some things can get going here. Okay, now. All right. We'll see. Need to get people filtering in. So we have got. So last week we just did all of this, the roaring register. That was interesting. That didn't take very long to do. I'm going to have a video. I did get the example done, but I'm going to save that for a special um, video. I already did this. Let's see. Okay, so to get started, uh, we have. So we've done quite a bit. I'd like to get just well. There's no number agreement on adjectives. There's bound and free comparative marking. Um, and then this is just uh, adjectives. Let's just say adjectives are their own class, but verbs behave, but verb participles function as adjectives. Right? So, the one thing that we need is since we have both bound and free comparative marking, we're going to have to make that. And then the last thing that I need to do is we need to figure out if we have prepositions or postpositions. So that is going to be, and once we decide that, then we can start making our adpositions, which we're going to need to convey stuff like possession, uh, location, uh, benefactive, all of these other things that you sort of that could be from oblique cases, but we don't have oblique cases. Now I have I made a quick and dirty table because I'm going to be reworking the way that order facts will work for this language for my dice system, so that I can get that done. But I have a quick and dirty table to roll on for that. But first, let's circumpositions. Well, there is a possibility that you could have both pre and post positions, Logan. Uh, so we'll see when it comes to that. But first, let's stay on task. I want to make sure that I have all of my proper bound morphology done in order to make sure that I have that sorted. Um, I'm thinking, let's get started with that. How about I close my tabs to the right, and don't mind that. So let's look at our thing. So we're looking for two things. We're looking for a good suffix that we can use. I think it's going to be a suffix that we will use for some adjectives to get the comparative marking. And then for other adjectives, we are going to need a word that means more, basically. And then from there, we can also decide whether we want to have a marked superlative as well. This is, I would not normally be doing this in a language. It's just that I randomly rolled that there is a morphological comparative form. It's not something I would usually expect to do because it's kind of Englishy, kind of European-y. But, you know, we have a lot of strange things going on. So how about let's generate 10 roots, and then I will pick from those, and then we can do polls and everything. So we go 10 roots, and we probably want something short. We can have let's grab. I don't like this complex cluster here in Timbri. So, or a coda cluster here for these particular meanings. But let's take a look at these in Lexergy and see how they look. Okay. I need to remap my keyboard. Now is it working right? Okay. Chalky looks good. And I gotta remember to put my pipes in. This is just an idiosyncrasy of how I formatted Lexergy in order to get morphologically conditioned rules. Uh, but anyway, okay. Chagi, chagi, agri, ati, ake, ite, egi, ege, idu. So that is, those are all interesting. So let's, I like chagi. I think I like both chagi and agri as words meaning more. And I'm going to make a point that these are going to actually come from different sources. The 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 suffix and the word more, so that we will have those be different and it won't be like super obvious that one is derived from the other. I think that is just the way that I prefer it to be. But, well, let's see. I like Chagi. I think I'm actually just going to go with Chagi. So let's, for the word for more, Chagi, Chagi, Chagi. And then we will work with these ones to see like which one we want to have as our suffix. So let's actually put that down. So I'll call it a morph. Have a compromise here. And we will have, let's have a poll for the people who are watching. If you are watching these things after the fact, there is a big benefit to being here at the time if you can make it. So let's do a quick poll. I'm going to select like ite ake. I'm going to go with ake ite. Ike uti uti. And we're going to ask, what is the source or the comparative suffix? So you guys decide that for me, because I like all of those. And while I'm here, this is something that I need to find a meaning for. This nkre. This is going to be relevant later. So let's chagi, chagi, cha. There's a cha, e, and this etymology is this tiaki, 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 and our pronunciation Chagi. Chagi. This is aspirated. And what do you call this? An adverb? An adverb? A particle? What is more and most? So we'll have that, and we are going to go with more comparative for adjectives. And here we have 2 votes. We got 3 people watching. Somebody can break this tie. I'll give you another minute to see if you can break the tie. And meanwhile, does it look different? Yeah. Okay. So, okay, we ended up with a 3-way poll. Okay. We'll end this. And let's see. Okay, so ake, eke, and idu. Yeah, you know what? Rather than try to keep doing this, I'm going to pick 2 of them. Not one, two of these. I think idu, ake, eke, idu. I think I make like ake and idu the most. Okay. And so we have some adjectives, right? Let me look up some adjectives. Afa, bufke, and chagi is obe, ube, ufi. Good. Okay, we've got a few adjectives. So let's grab one that's going to, okay, that's going to give us this the other harmony. So I'm going to grab 2 adjectives. Let's go with bufke, which is spongy. Bufke is spongy or foamy. So let's go with bufke. So let's testing this out. We have buff. Oh, I have the wrong keyboard. Why am I not? Okay. Bufke. Okay. And ube. And we're going to try out each of these. I'm going to pick these 2 and we're going to try out each of them. So ake. Um, so our typical situation is we take the first syllable of something. I think um, I think in this case, I think for ake specifically, we're going to take the whole thing. I just think it'll sound better. Ake. So so this word with ake would be um, uh, buff buffkake. I don't like that. Buffkake. Or it would be buffkak, right? With obe, with ube, it would be ubak. Works. It doesn't change with vowel harmony. That's one thing. Whereas, let's say we have the udu. Well, let's test all three of them. Udu, buff. So that would be buff, cud. Buff cud. Buff cud. And then we would have ubud. Right? That is, I like that better. And we also have, I like it when these things have a sort of different, when there's something a little bit different um in them because of my vowel harmony. So I'm actually leaning now more towards. So we've got ik, right? Buff, 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 kick, and then that would be uh, big. Um, that's not as dramatic of a difference from an English speaker's perspective, but it is actually giving us something. That could be it. So I'm thinking about the idea of using two of these so that you end up um, with both of the suffixes. Let me. Here's what I will ask you guys. Let's not do the uk. Let's not do the uk. I have two possible ideas, and I would be okay with either of them. So I want you guys to help me answer with this. Okay? So, well, the question is using both the the ud and egg suffixes. How are they? They are comparative and superlative. Not necessarily in that order, but like that would be what they are. Or they are used on different adjectives. Why is it? Why is it not letting me do the poll? Okay. Okay. Let's get that. And we can figure out what these meant later if we want to. But I just kind of want to have an idea, and then we can figure out like what that means in a bit. All right. While you all are contemplating that choice, why don't I go ahead and pull up my preposition thing so that I have something here. So by the way, the choice is we'll use both of these suffixes, the ud or ud, and the ig or ig suffixes, but we're going to decide, are they the comparative and superlative suffixes, or are they used with different adjectives? And not you have to figure out what conditions that. Meanwhile, I'm going to be preparing this is not how I will roll things in the final thing, but I took the features. I think it's 74 and 75 from Grand Bank. It's are there prepositions and are there postpositions? Are two separate features, and I combined those. I nixed all the languages that don't have them because I've decided that this has some kind of adpositions because I need them. And I also constrained it to verb final languages. So I've constructed this as a D20 roll. And we will see what we get for that. Okay. Okay, well, we definitely can have a tiebreaker on this poll, because, you know, there's another person here that can vote. Let me do this roll here, because we are going to do a little bit of preposition stuff. Let me turn off my screen. I don't have my little box, so hopefully this doesn't like roll off the table. I got a 10. And if I share my screen, then a 10 between 1 and 17 is post positions. And I cannot believe I misspelled that. So, let's go. I'm going to make another section, post positions. What heading? Heading 3? No, heading 2. And we will get into that in just a minute. Right now, okay. All right. So we've had this poll up for a little bit, and you guys are not deciding on this one. So let's go ahead and end it.
Daddy, can I have your phone?
Hold, okay, hold on.
What
I,
is this?
I'm streaming right now. Okay, you have it for a minute. Okay. All right. So let's end this poll, and I am going to have to like do a coin flip, which I will roll. Okay. I happen to grab a D8. So 1 to 4 is comparative and superlative, and 6 to 8 would be the use it on different adjectives. Okay, different adjectives. So now we have to think. Now I think is time to think about where did these come from. So their suffixes, they were some kind of uh, they were some kind of uh, um, a an adverb like thing, right? Had to be something that was modifying the adjective and came after it. Um, or wait a minute, they could be a noun because actually adjectives precede. Hold up a second. We have another option here. We could have
Dad, can you log me in on my Roblox account?
uh hold on a second. Uh why are you playing Roblox right now?
I just want to.
Well, you could be reading. People can see you on the internet. Okay. Apologies, my here's the thing. We can do this. And we have the perfect examples to show this with too. So, and it would be what is it? Utabe, above key. So I'm doing a similar pattern that I've done with other things. Is that the final consonant ended up getting deleted before a consonant, but still resurfaces when there's a vowel when we have a prefix. That's just a very standard common thing that happens to prefixes that I'm sort of applying irregularly to my affixes here. So I can do that, and we could have um uh ebafkig or um I ibobig. Is is it it? Ik Ego big. Right? So what do you guys think? Okay. Buffkig. Ubig. Ibufkig. I think we're going to keep them suffixes just to keep it from getting to like super long words, because I have the rule that the vowels merge here. That will help control control things. It will mean that some of my suffixes, some of my derivational suffixes for adjectives, end up kind of getting reduced to nothing, which is an interesting prospect. But we'll have that sorted out. So these are used on different adjectives. So what is a context where you would have a split? Let's say that these both meant more in some fashion. What is a context where we would have a three-way split in meaning, huh? Because we have chagi. Chagi hold on a second. So we have, let's look at the adjectives we have. So we have ube. Ube is directly from a thing. Afa is directly from something. Bufki is derived. Iffy is not derived. So Bufke. Actually, here's what I'm going to suggest here. The first thing I'm going to rule is that actually Bufke is not an example, because derived adjectives, transparently derived adjectives, take chagi. So it's chagi Bufke. Chagi Bufke. So, and we can make some irregularities. Maybe later I can decide like this particular affix is really old or something like that, and allow it to take a suffix. But typically derived words are going to take chagi. If we ever get to a point where we're doing loan words in this language, then loan words probably will also take chagi. But so we have two adjectives that mean, so we have three adjectives here. And I think, okay, so we're going to have to make a reference to the meaning here. So we have afa, ube, afa, and ufi. Now, ube, what does that mean? That means smooth. Smooth. Afa means soft or weak or young. And iffy means itchy or uncomfortable. So just with the few examples we have, I think I have an idea. So I was thinking in a sort of um, circum, sort of a circular way. I'm not gonna look up anything. Um, I'm not going to explore like different ways that this can work in reality because honestly I don't know if I would find the data in the time that I have here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say we already have a couple of categories here, and this is what I'm going to say is that there's a secondary thing. You we have the suffixes ig, ig, ah, ig, and id. Egg is going to be for adjectives that are have an inherent quality. So this is used for adjectives that imply an inherent property. Something that is how the thing is. And then ud. This is ER comparative. And this one is going to be used for adjectives that describe how something feels to uh, to speaker, listener, to how something is perceived. Now, in reality, this is going to be all kinds. This is all kinds of a mushy thing, right? So we're going to have to decide for each and every adjective whether it's predominantly in one category or the other. But this means that smooth is going to have obig, obig, ubig, because smoothness or roughness is like a property of the thing. But and definitely afa is going to have afik, right? That's definitely a property of the thing being described, right? Now, is there an element of being perceived as soft or weak or young relative to experience? Yes, there is. But it's still sort of seen as an inherent category by the speakers of this language, i.e., dragons. Whereas iffy, that is describing something as it affects you specifically. So that one is going to take the ud. So this is ifid. 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 So itchier. This one is itchier than that one. Is you have to have ifid. Right? That, there we go. We have how we're going to do our comparative. And since I didn't do that. We didn't end up with choosing these being comparative and superlative. Well, I need to see what's going on here. Uh, since we didn't end up with these being the comparative and superlative, that means I'm going to just say there is no superlative form. There's just a morphological comparative, and then we have this used with derived or borrowed adjectives. There we go. We have a nice system. When I figure out how the comparative construction works, then we will, because I have a table on comparative constructions that I will roll on. And then we will work on some more examples of this and end up with, sentences of this is itchier, this is smoother, this is, whatever. Okay. So this is the distinction. This is about not necessarily, it's not necessarily something that's perceived, but your perception of it is the focus of what the adjective means. Itchy doesn't mean anything without referring to my perception of it. Because the whole thing of to be itchy is to cause you to have an itch. Okay? But something that's soft can still be soft without anybody observing it. Someone who's young can still be young without anybody observing it. Something that's smooth can still be smooth without somebody observing it. That is going to be the distinction there. And then we get this out of it. Okay. So that's just how we're going to roll. Now, we have postpositions. We need to decide how many postpositions we're going to have. I really suggest just working out your postpositions. A couple things I want to tell people when you're making postpositions. Number one, work out a limited number of them and use those for the various meanings that your adpositions need to have. That will control things a little bit and force you to come up with some creative ways to use them. Number two, set that near the beginning. It's okay to add more adpositions later on if you feel you really end up needing them, but for the start, try to fit all of the things, especially all the grammatical functions, into a limited number. The other one is don't start out defining them by translating them to English. The number one thing, like one of the hardest things to translate between languages is actually prepositions, because they don't match up in function. They almost never match up exactly one-to-one in function between languages. I did a lot of focus on prepositions when I was working on Ndăkaga, because I did 2 different classes of inflecting prepositions for that language. So I was like, I had to, it made me think that I wanted to super focus in on what those are. And one thing it was like, yes, I can translate the preposition mahok as it's mahok as from, right? But I don't. But it's not. It doesn't cover all of the meanings of from, and it covers some things that we might use of for. So, it's not really necessarily a thing. I suggest you start out with like a core function for each one, defined in terms of, let's say we want a locative postposition, and we can expand this out in a minute. We can think about have a locative. Um, I need some sort of genitive or possessive um, post postposition, because like that's a key thing. Maybe we can have a benefactive, um, a dative, you know, and then we can think about, okay, think about, so some of these might cover multiple things, right? Like to, um, like the preposition to is the dative preposition. It's also has a locative like function. It's what do you call it? Towards something is a particular one. Is that allative or no, I have to look that up actually. What's allative? Yeah, allative is toward, right? So it has this a dative and an allative function. Uh, For has like the benefit factive function, but it also has like almost the opposite. It has like this purpose function. Um, no, it's still yeah. It has a with with is a comminative and an instrumental. Um, and there's a feature for that actually, but I don't think I want to use that. I just want to decide for myself maybe um, whether I want to have comminative and instrumental the same. I think I want them comminative and instrumental. I think I will have them be the set different. It depends on if I actually want a postpositional construction for instrumental in the first place, because I kind of like having like use. So let's. So let's think about this now. For locative, I think for that one we are going to have multiple. So let's start out by just figuring out what all of our distinctions for a locative thing. And let's see. I wonder if I can find one of those charts that has um, the inside, outside, all of those. Language learning positions. Illustration. Right. Okay, here we go. So if we have something, thinking of something like this. My goodness, there's a lot of them. This is on Shutterstock, huh? Let's grab something like that. Let's actually go ahead and make one. And I'm going to we'll start with all of the well, okay. I do need to have the genitive slash possessive one first. So let's do that one, and then we can see about expanding it and giving it other functions later. But I kind of need it. So let's go ahead and generate. Let's go to Lexifer. Let's give 5 things. Go ta mie akis mu. Okay. Oh, I need to before I forget all of this, I need to put these in here to have the well, so what did we have? Good etymology is that's that and suffix. And I'll fix that up later. And we need to have the egg. No. And if you're wondering why I'm picky about documenting my etymologies before I move on here, the thing is, like, you know, I talk about, like, you know, David and Jesse, they like to know where everything comes from in the first place. Um, and and that informs their thing, and that's a great process that's really cool. um, I am fine with filling that in later, but I have to document my etymologies in order to do that. So, like, sometime in the future I might decide, oh, okay, that egg, where did it come from? So it came from egg. What does the egg mean? And then I can make the word and have it mean something in the language later on. So that is what I'm doing. So everything I'm going to have to do this. So let's see. All of these will work. What happens? This just becomes meh, right? Meh. That's going to be confused with me 100% of the time by English speakers. Ta. Ta is just going to be ta. No, just da. Da. It's going to be da. I need to. Does anyone else out there struggle with their own romanization? Because I could use some. I use this romanization, and it is based on the romanization of a language I am familiar with. Or, well, no, the romanization is fine actually. So the romanization will get me right. Sorry, it's the phonetic transcription throws me off because I'm so used to the Englishy transcription that is not actually totally accurate, where this would mean often an aspirated. Yeah. You do struggle with your transcriptions and your romanizations, yeah. Glad to hear that, Logan. Well, not necessarily glad, but it's nice to know other people understand my struggle. So, I will throw it out here. So, what is the genitive possessive postposition? Make it a poll. Is it me or is it da? Me or da? And okay, let's keep voting here. Hello, Madame Knees. How are you doing? Nice to have some people on here. What are the time zones people are coming from? Let me know where you are. I'm wondering if sort of what the spread is here. Maybe I need to consider what time slot to use for this. Tired after the first week back at work. I worked all the way through break, so but yes. Okay, we have Glasgow. I know Logan is Mountain Time. So that means it's 2:30 where Logan is. It's 2:30 where you are, huh? Are you not working, Logan? Mountain Time. Let's see here. All right, well, this is not going to change, so I think we're going to end up with da, which ends up being, it's sort of like either one of these was going to be a little bit weird, because da that's like literally, that's like Portuguese, right? And then me is going to get confused with me by every single English speaker. So either way, but when you're doing like stuff like function words, you get collisions like that all the time. Da. It's also similar to duh from Chinese. I can do multiple things at once. Okay. Yeah, well, you know what? Yes, sometimes when I'm still on my shift when Langtime Studio comes on, then I will join Langtime Studio. So I'm there. Um, yeah. It's and so I will be there. It's 3:36 right now. But so or day from Spanish and French. But it's not a big deal so much because like a lot of prepositions are going to be in like that same space because they tend to be short one syllable words. So it's not going to be too bothersome. That said, um uh, the Japanese genitive marker is no. That's right. So me would have been just fine, but we decided on da. That's fine. Um, let's let's actually see. Um, I have a specific plan for that. We'll go work on the locative ones in a minute, but I have a specific plan. I dragons. So I have the name of this language so far has been Ndăkaga. Right? This is not the native term for the language. Oh yes, you could confuse it with da in Russian. Everything's going to get confused when we're talking about small function words. So it's not that big a deal, but we did decide that. So Ndăkaga is what wizards call the language. Dragons typically call it Kaga. Kaga. Um, which just means voice or language. So, the question is, if they have to differentiate, how do they say the language of dragons? And also, do they call themselves, earlier we decided that this root ga means dragon. But I thought about it. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about like where did this thing come from? Because I just decided, okay, well, nda means wing, and then kaga is voice, so it's the wing voice. It's the because dragons have wings, and I was thinking about that. And it seems reasonable. That's something like the humans came up with. But then later on, I was thinking about it. I'm like, that kind of doesn't make sense. And then also, like, if dragons also have a sign language, then that would probably be better because they for Ndăkaga, because like they use their wings, they would use their wings in signing. But I already established Ndăkaga is just meaning this spoken Draconic language. So I was just thinking, like, where does this come from? So I was thinking, and it's worked out in just the right way. Because let's see, we go to constructions. So adjectives precede the noun. So what I need, I'm going to get one more derivational morpheme, and we will have this wrapped up. So let's generate one more thing. We'll be back to prepositions here in a minute. We'll just generate again. Ti pia ate Pia. I like Pia. I think we're gonna go with Pia, and then that just becomes Pa, right? Apply this Pa, and then this is a derivational suffix. Did I add ud? Let me see. Ud. Yeah, I have that. Okay, so let's add another suffix. So we've got pa, and this is etymology is from pia. And then we're going to, this is a suffix, this is a derivational suffix. It turns a noun into an adjective. And this is having. I was debating having like some sort of verbalization process and as in fanged or winged. So there we go. So you see where I'm going with this. I was considering just using one of my participle forms, but instead don't want to deal with the mechanics of how we get a noun to a verb and then to an adjective. So I just thought, okay, so they don't call themselves just ga. Ga is actually a broader term that can cover other creatures. They call themselves Ndăkaga. And the language can then be called Ndăkaga. And somewhere, some human wizard, human or elf or some kind of humanoid wizard came around and he heard this name Ndăkaga. Ndăkaga, and somehow just like mashed it all up into Ndăkaga. And that is what most wizards end up calling it from then on. So this is something that I was needing. Another thing that I need now is for reasons I am going to need some the wizard couldn't pronounce it, just like I couldn't pronounce it, and so he shortened it. Yes, and who what the identity of the wizard is can depend on what your world is. I'm making this language for people to run Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or other TTRPG, right? You can just blame it on, I don't know, one of the like Bigby or Mordenkainen, one of the named wizards in D&D lore, or somebody who you invent for your own history, for your own world or something. But somewhere along the line, there was some humanoid wizard that butchered this name and it stuck for the wizards. Oh my. Constantine, unfortunately, I can Kud, kuda, kudaya pop, popal, but I don't know what that means. Blaming Gail? Yes, okay. You can blame whoever you like. um, so there we have the origin of Ndăkaga is out there. Yeah. Well, I can read Cyrillic a little bit, but I don't know any any stuff. So also for reasons I need some locative and some prepositions involving like a to and from and stuff, right? Now, there we go. I just jumped in with the English words, okay? We have to and from. Well, I mean from it has some locative functions and some like genitive like functions, right? Um, uh, oh, okay. Logan speaks Russian. I do not speak Russian. I can just can I can recognize the word ruski ruski, but so I know what you're saying there, but I can just read the alphabet and pronounce it. I actually a super cool thing with with like writing systems in general. Like with I speak English, I speak Spanish, and I speak Chinese. With Chinese, in order to learn the writing, you absolutely have to learn the language, right? But um, with like stuff like Cyrillic or Greek, you can learn the alphabet, learn how to pronounce things, but not actually with learning the language. And it can be useful if you are not interacting with that language a whole lot and you just want to be able to pick out when something is in Russian and maybe pick out like names of people that are printed somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. So, would elevation play more of a role in prep when it comes to the preposition set? That's a good question. So I'm gonna make my own thing here. Um, New document, and let's make a little cube here, and let's work out what distinctions we actually want to have. And then maybe I will be able to um, uh, so I want to have this has to have I where's the fill and stroke. We want no fill. We want a stroke, just a black stroke. I want to make that thicker so that it's highly visible. And we're just drawing a box. We'll grab the Bezier tool and no, no, that's brushstrokes. We'll grab the Bezier tool and we can go from there to there and there to there. Okay. And make this all one object. Group that as one object, and we're going to make just a circle. And this one is going to have a fill, and make it green, or make it red. Red is fine. Red is fine. So we can work with this and start figuring out what are things, huh? Oh yeah, the character no. I can recognize no very easily. I mean it's because I know Chinese. I instantly know, like, I'm gonna know when I see these more simple characters that don't fit the Chinese aesthetic, that okay, that must be Japanese. But also I do recognize some of the kana anyway, so I do know that. So let's think about, so I think elevation is going to matter. So we definitely want to have above and below. So now here's the thing. So we'll have above and below. These will be separate words, huh? Right? But do we want to also have these ones? This one would be, in English we would say on top of, and this one, I don't think we have this distinction in English, but maybe beneath. It's under, but we have to, let me, so that we can lower it, so that you can see. Let's say this box is made of glass so that we can see inside. So there we have that. So are we going to distinguish this and this and this and this? That's a question. Yeah, so this is touching something. This is just this is so we distinguish these two in English, right? We distinguish above versus on top of. We don't really distinguish these two. Like it's both of them would be under. Hmm? Um, so the question is, are we going to distinguish them here in Draconic? Let me as and I'm going to do so what do y'all think? Do we want to distinguish this like 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them? Do we want to distinguish just some of them? I think so. There's two different ways I can think about this in terms of a dragon's perspective. One is that it might be actually super important because it helps to distinguish, like, flying above something versus standing on top of something. Um, the other way around, though, is that uh, actually that might not be super important because the context is going to give it away. So I think it could go either way, and I'm not super married uh, to what we'll do. the way I see it is there are four possibilities here. You can distinguish all four. You can merge. We're not definitely going to keep like above and below distinct, right? We're definitely going to keep this part separate from this part. But we can distinguish all four. We can distinguish it just with the below or just with the below, above, or we can make no distinctions. So, uh, so let's map that out. Okay. So this is our options. So let's make a square with no fill and make our stroke orangey. Is it gonna, okay, it's not, okay, I have to do this and get, so this is our first option. Well, I mean, actually, no, it's not like that. It's like this. It's like this. We have these two groups and that's all. Right? Right? Our second option would be to have a second distinction, and we will color this like this light bluish color. And do that distinction for everything. Yeah, yeah, but they also, they talk about everything. The one thing is, I get what you're talking about, and that they interact with each other in the sky, but they also talk about other objects in relation to each other, right? Now, here is the interesting question. We can do, let's move this over and move this over. I don't need to get, I'm just trying to get something quick, so I don't want to be too silly about it. Another option here is to have this. Okay. Control Z, Z. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, so. Okay, this is gonna take too long for me to do the whole infographic, but we can also have the distinction only in this, or the distinction only in this, and we can sort that out as we go here. So here's the question. Yes, that's not something I'm going to do on stream. So let's set up a poll here. So distinctions for locatives for above, below. And I don't want it to be a Q&A. I want it to be a poll. I am not doing this correctly. Okay. So, four-way, we have above and on top of, but no down distinction. In the below. And then we have below, not touch, and then below touch. And then finally, we are going to go with no touch distinction. And let's see. Let's see how people like that. Well, that's very interesting. Let's see how the votes come in. And we are going to see here. And I'm going to start generating roots. We're probably going to need a few. We're going to go get 10, 15 of them. And we will get that. Okay. Okay. All right. That's 4. Okay. Okay. Constantine, you are not, I am removing you. This is not what I want to have in my channel. Okay. Okay. So, and we can end our poll here. And it looks like everybody sort of worked out that it was just going to be this. So that works. So here we go. I'm going to make this smaller because I'm probably going to get more of these little diagrams here, and I want to keep track of it. So let's look at the roots that we have and see. I like poo. I like poo, poo. I like, there's not a whole lot of kit. I think kit and poo work pretty well. I think I'm going to go with kit. We don't have a lot of coda consonants. And what happens to codas is not clear. P can work, but I think I'm going to go find something else. Pra. Hit and pra. Hit and pra. Right. Bra. Bra. Ippy. T. Ba. Fa. Oh, fa. Okay, yes, this is good. I'm going to go with these. Okay, kit and fa. And I am going to just based on, so why did I, oh. Draconic. And so we have heat. G is heat. And it's pronounced heat. And this is a post position. And it means above or on top of. And we are going to put it into our illustration here. Can we do some text and have heat? Wow, what? I can pretty this kind of thing up later. Now, and then we're going to do add fa. Fa. And that is from fia. Fia. And etymology. Fia. And we're going to have it, this is just pronounced fa. And post position. And the meaning is below, beneath, under. And let's put that in here. Fa. Now, I do want to have some others that are going to be relevant. Now let's draw. Actually, oh gosh, wow. Okay, we have what's this do? Oh, it's just a little pointer thingy. So what we want is to make an arrow. Wait, why is it not? Okay. Is it, does that object exist? Okay, I need to figure out what I'm doing here. I want to draw the Bezier curve tool. That's what I want. Okay. So let me find a different tool to use. Is there just a tool to draw lines? Draw a line here. Nope, not freehand. Let's hold shift or hold control. Whoa. You would think it would be easy to just draw an arrow, but nope. Nope, that's not what I want. I want to still have a line. Okay. Let's draw the freehand line here. Okay. We're just going to work with that, and I will make it a neater arrow later. Well, maybe I can just make a polygon, a three-sided polygon, and there solid line, no fill, and then you should be able to draw a line. Okay, well I got that. Okay. So let's rotate this around, shrink it down to size, and then so we're thinking about 2 and from. So how do I'll just rotate it. Easier to do that than try to figure out all the transformations. Yeah. So we got to and from, huh? We can work with that kind of thing. But do we want to expand out? You got to and from, like from the side. Do we want to add variants like approaching from below. Now, I don't think we have anything like this in English. Like not like as a simple preposition, but it could make sense for dragons. And thanks for that idea. There'd still be, I think I'm still going to have phrases involved for directions on the ground. Yeah. Make approaching from direction a compound thing. It could be. That's an idea. So like I could compound one of these with our toward and our from, right? Mm-hmm. Depends on how hard you want to go for verb framing and satellite framing. Oh, Logan, I don't have any oblique cases. I can't do that. but but I like the idea. I like the idea, but I don't have any oblique cases. I have I do have nominative and accusative. I have ergative, nominative, and accusative. So there could be something funny about the cases there. Um, Let me think about this for a second. Um, so approaching from above. Yeah. Yeah. So approaching from above, and then so here's the thing. So let's arrange this into like a chart form. So we would have this. We have this whole mess, right? We have to and from, and then approaching from above and approaching and going, and then going away toward the bottom too. So we'd have that and that. See what I mean? V Dragonia, not Dragonia, top of the dragon. Not Dragonia. I'm getting on the dragon. Yeah. Hmm. I think we need to have our towards and away from. So, and we will have default be approaching from the same elevation. I think so. Here's something that I'm thinking. Let me. I need to gesture at you guys for a second. So let's stop this. So I'm thinking dragons do not approach straight down or straight up, right? They don't fly vertically. The way that they're built implies that they're going to be coming in like at an angle because they need lift the same way an airplane does, right? And or come up from an angle. So I think it makes a lot of sense to do this compounding thing because the most likely way that they're going to conceive of it is approaching like this rather than approaching like that, which is a very different direction than this, right? We already have now one thing to consider is we already have directionals on the verb. We have directionals and and uh and and yeah, so we have the directionals. Let me get the screen back up. uh okay, here's what we can talk about here. Okay. um we don't really need it because we have the directional slash associated motion markers. Hmm? That already has rise and descend. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, we don't necessarily need to distinguish it in the preposition itself in any way. What we can do is they can say some interesting things of like add the chit, the chit or the up into the verb while also doing the this. There's also a go and a come here. So we could actually ask ourselves, here's what we can do is we're going to ask ourselves, which is more important? Which one ends up getting encoded on the preposition more often? Is it the up or the down, the from above or from below? Is that on the preposition? Or the toward and away from? Um, and if we have those prepositions, then those can end up getting combined with a directional in order to get things. Thinking about that. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I think that given that we have this, we do not need to have this distinction. But there's going to be common constructions. So we just need this to and toward and away from distinction. We don't need to worry about the vertical direction because that can be added on with a directional. Situations where they're contradictory, and what could that mean? Well, I mean, we do have an itive and eventive, right? We have a go and a come. If you combine that with a from or a toward preposition, then you are going to have some sort of you what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to interpret that with the idea of with with the with the idea of it may be going away from the speaker or toward the speaker, but also there's also an element of going toward this third person object or toward whatever the object of the preposition is, right? Postposition. Sorry. So I don't think we're going to necessarily, if we had this distinction here, yeah, yeah, descending upward. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. Like, can you have a distinction where that makes any descending upward? I'd have to think about that. Okay, I tell you what. Let's in the last few minutes. I'm going to make a general term for um, for go and come. Okay. Uh, for not for the general words for the toward and from and away from prepositions. Right now, and that's the thing that I need for a video that I'm making. So I'm going to make sure that that gets done. Um, and then I'm going to think on this and think about whether about the ascending and descending toward and from distinctions and see um, if there is room for that in a way that yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, you know what? That is a super good thing to have as a conlanger is uh Madame Nese here is saying she's intentionally trying to break break things because you know it's their job, right? Yeah. Um and that's actually kind of a good instinct to have because languages are not like totally logical. And sometimes when you look for the ways that your distinctions can break down, that's a place where you can find a unique construction to build on. So I'll think on that. I'm going to think on that and I'm going to see if there's a way that we can have this distinction happen. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. Um, uh, the and I'm going, but for now, I just need to and from, and what it's describing is not going to have any descending or so we peep and ga. I don't like ga. Peep. Beep 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 is okay, but I'm not super liking it. Fa. So this is fit. Fit would end up being fa. Um, let's generate some more words in a go so that I have more things to look at. That would be a ga. That would be a ba. Ba is always nice. Um, I guess we can go with one simple aku. I think we'll go with ba and apu. Aku. So let's let's grab both of those. Forget the this in the middle. Ba aku. Yeah. Load. No, I don't need to load. I need to. Where's my apply button? Oh, it's down here. Ba and agu. Agu. Okay. Ba and agu. Um, and let's go and add those. We have ba. I'm gonna say ba. It just seems to make sense to me for ba to mean toward and agu to mean away from. So let's do that. And I'm not thinking too much about where these come from. In the future, I might go and retcon these and think about where sources, uh, good sources for prepositions are either nouns or verbs. Um, those tend to turn into prepositions quite a bit, and I think both are options for us. Verbs are probably a better option. Um, so that's something that people can think about it about. Um, and this is postposition. Keep saying prepositions all the time because I'm more used to talking about that, but it's postpositions. All of the languages that I speak reasonably well use prepositions. Um, so this one is toward. And then the and the aku etymology is this. It's actually agu, agu, agu. Didn't change. Agu, and this is postposition and away from. And we are going to generate examples for all of these things. I think that this diagram is going to be helpful in the meantime. So this is this will be helpful for all of the locative ones. So we've got ba. I've got stroke paint on that. We need to fill and make it black. Okay. And then this is agi. And then I'm going to decide later. I just need these two right now. And I will decide later whether these are going to be relevant and distinguished and how that will work. We might have something like bakit, bakit, and agakit to mean, this coming from above or going away from above, away toward the sky. Another thing is you could say maybe the distinction only happens in one or the other. I think that actually approaching from the sky or from underneath, from above, and yeah, yeah, we need to study some head final languages. Um, Japanese. I need to pick up Japanese. I've got a head start on the characters. Maybe I can work on that. There's a lot of Japanese flavor in Ndăkaga actually, because we have the vowel, and we've got the strong verb final syntax. We'll see, but there's plenty that's different, and we have postpositions too, but there's still plenty that's different. So I'm not super worried about that. Okay, so we've gone over time. I'm gonna save this, and we're gonna work from this and get all of the others. I'm gonna go back and work on getting all of the different variations of where you can put things um, to inside of and outside of and all of that stuff. Oh, how am I going to describe outside? Yeah, I'll deal with that, and then we can work on defining like where the distinctions lie. So this is going to be something I'll think about for next week. And anyway, thank you all for showing up. Tell your friends about Tongues and Runes, and happy conlaying. Wow. Okay.